All right, welcome back to Top 5 Vinyl, where we show love to vinyl owners. Today I'm here with Smoooth Dee. How's it going, sir?
What's going on, brother? Good to be here, man. Thanks for reaching out and asking me, man.
Absolutely.
We're talking top five vinyl. Being a DJ, it's it's my world. You know what I'm saying? I grew up playing vinyl, you know what I'm saying, initially as just things laying around the house and it actually being a source of how we listen to our music to, over time just having a reconnection to what vinyl is and how you consume albums. The way we did it back in the day was
Mm.
totally different than just the digital era now. So
Yeah.
again, thanks for having me.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So before we officially get started, can you let the people know where they can find you? What do you have going on?
Yeah, so you can find me on my socials. Social media is Smoooth D, but it's spelled with three O's. So that's SMOOTHD on IG. Or you can go to smoothd.com, again, spelled the same way, and that'll have the breakdown on everything that I'm doing as far as events that I'm DJing. I also live stream on Twitch as well. Same thing. All that info you can find on smoothd.com. And also check out, it used to be called Dash Radio. Now it's called litlive.com, which is a streaming platform with tons of different stations, similar to Sirius XM, but it's totally free. All you need to do is sign up for a membership, and you can listen to like over 80 stations of any style of music you want.
Mm.
And the station I have a show and program, I'm a programmer for, is called Delicious Vinyl Radio. So that vibe is more classic hip hop flavor.
Nice, nice. Okay. Excuse me. And oh yeah, so I want everybody to like, subscribe, tell your friends, all that cool YouTube stuff you guys got to do out there. With that being said, you actually opened up the door with the beginning. So growing up, was there a record player in the house?
Yes. And not only was it a record player, it was, I don't even know what you call those units, but it was the large furniture piece that had the TV in the middle, the
Mm.
speakers built in on the side, the top was a radio and record player all in one. It probably weighed 2 tons because it was huge.
Had a
You
TV
put
in
your
it?
drinks on it and
Wow.
everything. But yeah, that's what I remember
Okay.
being in the home until a little bit later. I have an older brother, so he had an actual stereo in his room,
Mm.
which again had the 8 track on it,
Mhm, mhm.
so I'm telling my age is what it's
I
coming down
get it.
to.
No, no shame here, sir. So the record player that you just described, was that mom's, dad's? How'd that work?
um, Dad was the breadwinner. I mean, but my mom was a teacher, so knowing it was probably my father though. He
Okay.
was more of the social guy.
So he was the primary music record listener back then?
Here's the weird thing. I don't recall anybody putting a record on
Mm.
the turntable. It
Okay.
strictly was there because like my parents, they were pretty social. And I said my dad was kind of a social person, but my mom is, if there's a party or any type of event going on, my mom is there. So I
Mm.
think a lot of our things that were in our home was kind of just based on curating a vibe for guests.
Mm.
So, like neither one of them drank, but we
Mm.
had a full liquor
Huh.
cabinet. You know what I
Okay.
mean? So yeah, I like my memories. I don't recall anyone placing a record on
Mm.
the turntable when I was
Mm.
little.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Okay. So as far as you having buying your first record, you actually going to the store with your own money,
Mm.
buying your first vinyl. Do you remember what that was?
The first, I would probably say was that I remember. I'm pretty sure I bought something before this one, but the clear memory I remember is the group Mantronics,
Mm.
and they had a song on the radio called "Fresh is the Word." And so when the record was on the radio, it was back in the day, and you could actually call in and request songs and things like that. So I actually called in and say like, "Hey, who?" I just want to know who the record was by. And they were like, "Yeah, the group is Mantronics. Fresh is the word." And so we had a shopping mall, maybe like 15 minutes from the house. So I remember hopping on my bike and
Mm.
riding down. to Sound Revolution was the name of the record store.
Mm.
And it was right on the edge. So it's like you walk in, it was the first store to your left. Remember clear as day, because the arcade was two stores down on the left as
Mm-hmm.
well.
Hmm.
So I remember going in and looking for that record. And then a little further backstory is the members of the group was a man Tronic, who was the DJ producer, who became one of my favorite DJs that I would love growing up. But then the MC of the group was MCT. And from MCT is how, when I first got involved in hip hop and start trying to rap, my name was MCD. But I took it from MCT, and
Right.
then the Smooth got added on later through another hip hop story.
Nice. Nice. Okay. I think you mentioned Sound Revolution.
Yep, that was
Was
the name of
that
the record store.
now? Would you say like that was your favorite record store to buy records from, or was there somewhere else that you would say was your favorite place to go buy vinyl?
The first record store I remember going into, it was called Peaches.
Mm.
I still, whenever, I mean, I live in Los Angeles now, but I'm originally from St. Louis, Missouri. So whenever I go back home and I pass the intersection of where that Peaches record store used to be, it just conjures up memories of just being young and walking through the record store and just seeing the records. Obviously, I couldn't buy them back then. This was like literally me 5, 6 years of age. But when we used to have the record crates, one of the crates that we had that my parents had the records in had it was, I guess they bought it from Peaches because it had the
Mm.
Peaches logo on it.
Mm.
So that was my favorite record store in my mind. But yeah, Sound Revolution, because it was so close.
Mm.
And once I started getting more involved into music, especially like with the DJ side of it, it was the go-to. Like
Mm.
you would take your backpack and go down there and come back with uh, a backpack full of records,
No,
all
I was
paid
about.
for though. Like we didn't.
Thanks for
I didn't want to make
clarifying.
it seem like I was like
Yeah, thanks for
stuffing them in.
clarifying. But I'm sure like
Yeah,
I'm sure 7 years has passed and you'll be fine if you want to admit that
right.
at this point in time. So can you remember like in any single trip to the record store, the most amount of vinyl that you left with? Like,
Um, I would probably say maybe 20
mm,
to 25, but
mm,
that was definitely in. Now it's like I'm DJing, you know what I
right.
mean? So it's like at that point, you just got to stock up on whatever is hot. So I just remember it was probably like late 80s or like early 90s because once I started DJing, I have all these records, but now there is the business element of it. So it's like you have to invest in yourself. So it was really like, okay. And it was me and my buddy. So it wasn't me just buying them all myself. We just kind of, I don't even think we created a list per se, but we knew going in, like, okay, these are the hot new records we need to have coming out. Oh, get that MC Light. I'm gonna get the Rodney O and Joe Cooley and stuff like that. So, yeah, we probably walked out with like 30 of them
Okay.
total.
Okay. All right. And final question before we get into it. How hard was it for you to come up with your top five records?
It was pretty hard, honestly. Because, for me, music is my life, even outside of being a DJ. I think that's what kind of led me to having an interest in becoming a DJ because of my love for music. But um, having an exposure and liking the different styles of music, like I grew up in the band. So playing marching band, concert band, jazz band, all those things kind of influence and give you exposure to different styles of music. So I knew, especially um, when it came to picking my top records, I could probably do a top five in each category, in multiple categories. But I mean, this list will definitely be, I would say, an overall comprehension of my true music taste.
Nice.
But
Okay.
it took a while. It did.
Glad to hear I was able to torture you. Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right, cool. So, Smooth D, with that being said, this is top five vinyl. Can you show me the number five album that you have in front of you right now?
You know what? The number five is not in front of me. It's
Mm,
actually behind me. So
mm,
I will go grab it off of the wall.
okay. Mm. I did notice that. I did notice that. Okay.
19, I think 1995 it was. 94, 95. So Southern playlisted Cadillac music. When I think about artist groups or music that caused a shift in me to say, what is that?
Mm.
Outkast was one of those groups. I remember being in college and like you take your trips for spring break and stuff like that. So one of my boys went to Atlanta for spring break, and saying being I DJ'd on campus and stuff like that. You're a bit of a music aficionado, so some of your friends they want to impress you, like, yo, I got some. Check out my music ear. So I just remember him bringing the cassette.
Mm.
He just said, "Pop that in." Okay, and then just from the beginning all the way through it, I just I was glued.
Mm.
I just was stuck on it. Like, what is this? By the end of it, okay, I know what this is.
Mhm.
Outkast is one of my top, yeah, top, definitely one of my top hip hop groups of all time. The top five will cover the other.
Mhm.
But yeah, they're number two.
Okay. Okay. So have you seen any of your top five perform live before?
I have.
Okay.
Yeah, so the Outkast story is yeah, actually the first time I saw them, I was DJing for a concert that they were performing at.
Nice.
The concert was Outkast, 112, and Jay-Z.
Mm.
So I didn't get to meet Outkast like at the sound check or whatever, but I got to meet 112 and Jay. Not really meet Jay-Z, but I had a little bit of a conversation with 112,
Mhm.
and then Jay-Z came, but they were just kind of in. And this was before. This was right on his first album, Reasonable Doubt. So it's just kind of interesting to see that early stage of Jay-Z and what he has now become is
Mhm.
it's kind of crazy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it was just like, oh yeah, I know a couple of his songs, but I never would imagine that. But
Mm.
yeah, performing at that concert was Outkast, and that just took it up a whole nother level because I was already a fan of the music, but to see the energy of them performing just
Mhm.
took it to a whole nother level of fandom
Mhm.
and support
Mm.
of
That's
that
really
group
cool.
for sure.
Okay. All right, cool. So that's your number five. Let's go ahead and take a look at your number four.
Number Quattro, taking it back old school.
Okay.
It's a
Okay.
soundtrack, one of two.
Mm. Yep. Okay.
Car Wash.
Classic. Okay.
When I think about the earlier days of music, as I was kind of discussing a little while ago, Car Wash was one of those soundtracks. We had the vinyl for that. My parents did this, even though it probably looks like it would be because it's all beat up. Um, that was one of the earlier albums that really stuck out to me. And what I loved about the album being part of the sound. I mean, so I think it came out like 76. So I know I didn't see the movie until like later,
Mhm.
probably on TV reruns and stuff like that. But the thing I remember about this album is that it had, so I think there's like a clip with Richard Pryor when he's Daddy Rich and they come to see him at the car wash. He pulls up to the car wash and stuff, and they're kind of praising him very very pimp like. You know what I mean? It's like he's a preacher, but he's a pimp. But then you kind of learn later, like, I don't know. It's a thin line for some, but um, the instrumentation on it, and I love that it was a combination between just good music, funk, and like you got to believe something with the Pointer Sisters, right?
Mhm.
And there were these records, I'm Going Down, Rolls Royce. And they also just had jams on there, just like instrumental arrangements that you could just vibe to. And so I like that mix of the album, that it had both. Because again, before DJ, um, I don't say am a musician. I played all the way up through college, but I mean, I played trumpet, and
Mhm.
I could probably maybe play a C scale now because I haven't touched it in so long.
Right.
I still have it, but I haven't,
Mhm.
played. I haven't followed up on it. So Just to know um, that that type of variety was out there, I was able to listen on a deeper level. And so, a quick story about this actual vinyl as I bring it in closer, it's kind of hard to see,
Is that
but
signed?
the signature on there is from Bill Duke.
Hmm. Hmm.
Crazy story, right? So, I mentioned about the radio format and litlive.com, Delicious Vinyl Radio, another plug. So they also have a pizza spot that's in Los Angeles, and it has a very hip hop feel. So they have a whole wall where they sell. It's almost like a record store. So people come in on certain days, they do record swap, sell stuff like that. So one day they were doing a Q&A with a hip hop journalist. His name is Soren Baker. I think he's from Baltimore originally, but he lives in LA. He's covered a lot of stuff for different magazines and stuff. He was doing a Q&A with Bill Duke, kind of discussing his career and related to like his impact with hip hop and things like that. So in going to support the event, I just happened to be walking by the bathroom and I looked up on walking to the bathroom and looked up on the shelf and I saw this car wash record. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get him to sign this.
Hmm.
So I literally grabbed the record, paid the dollar for it. And I think it
Huh.
was maybe two or $3. And then after the Q&A was over, I asked him to sign it. And I told him the story too, and he just laughed while he was signing it. So
That's funny.
yeah.
Huh. All right, cool. That was your number four.
Oh,
Let's go ahead and take a look at your number three.
okay. Number three, I do not have the actual album cover because in my previous residence, I was kind of creating this, but it was kind of ghetto. It was just album covers stuck on the wall.
Okay.
So all of those albums are in storage still, but I do have the vinyl since it's top five vinyl, and I will just show the insert for it that
Okay.
it came in.
Ah, I know
You can
that. I know that
see
picture. Okay.
from my favorite hip hop group of all time, Tribe Called Quest,
Mm,
Midnight Marauders.
nice. Nice.
Yeah, and this is simple as that, man. I think Midnight Marauders is like the culmination of Tribe being marking the spot.
Mm,
When, Instinctive Rhythms came out, that was the introduction. Native Tongue, whatever, like pre-backpack era, they were kind of on that movement. When they came out with Low End Theory, I think is when they were really defining the sound of who they were. And then Midnight Marauders was when everything just kind of lined up perfectly with
mm,
this album. I mean, again, for me, one of those albums you can put on and let it ride from beginning to end. And in this case, flip it over on side
mm,
B,
mm-hmm.
you know what I mean, from A to B and just ride it all the way through. So,
Mm, mm, nice. Oh yeah, Tribe is legendary. Okay. So that's your number three.
three.
Let's go ahead and take a look at your number two.
Number two, again, like the original of this, I don't even know where the vinyl of it is, but I recently found this, and this particular version is kind of like um, my new hobby is finding these photo albums,
Mm,
and this photo album is none other
mm.
than The Thriller.
hmm
Shouts
hmm
out and rest in peace, Michael Jackson.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't even think I got to get into too much of that because that album itself is just so monumental, man. On all forms of breaking records and things like that, it became really a bar for just artists in general. You know what I mean? But just again, I think Mike just being in that perfect spot in the album speaks for itself. That has lasted for so many years. Of course, the song Thriller every October it
Huh.
just starts spiking up again.
hmm
And it's funny because and a side note, like all of my endeavors, like I was doing radio podcasts and things like that for a while as well. And I had the opportunity to interview Ola Ray, who's, for those who don't know, she's the lead girl in the Thriller video.
hmm
And she was just saying how, no matter what's going on around October, her social media goes up. Anything related to her, it starts going through the roof because she's really just associated with that song
Right.
so largely. I mean, she even said like I think she was trying to sue Party City or something because they, you know how they have different costumes for Halloween, but it
Of her.
was
Hmm.
pretty much her costume, you know what I mean,
Hmm.
without her name on it, but it was obviously her and her likeness. And she was like, "Oh yeah, I need to break bread."
Hmm.
So I haven't talked to
Wow.
her in a while, but hopefully she does get compensated for that because she
I
is
hope so. Yeah.
she's part of the iconic moment that was that song and video as well.
Nice. Okay. Cool story. Okay. So that was your number two. And for the grand finale, what do we
Numero
have
uno.
for
So
number
again,
one?
I'm doubling down with the picture video, but then, and this kind of lets you know why it's my number one. Not only do I have the picture video, but I still have the original
Mm, mm,
Purple Rain.
mm-hmm.
Purple Rain.
Nice.
And as an added bonus,
Mm-hmm. Mm,
purple vinyl.
that's pretty. That's pretty.
And this is actually I had to find this version. I had it growing up. Um I had the original album. Then when I kind of started, like this is 84, so I think I was starting to buy music, but then I found the purple vinyl of it later. And I just think over the years, being a DJ, I realized that a hip hop DJ, I did not take well care of my music because it was
Mm,
clubs, it was events. So, a lot of vinyl either got lost or damaged, along the way. But some years later, a girl I was dating knew maybe it was a conversation I was having about the movie or the vinyl. Obviously, I told the story and she found it and bought it for me. So,
nice.
so that was super dope for her.
That's cool.
Shouts out wherever you are.
Right. That's funny. All right, cool. Can you tell the people one more time where they can find you?
Yes, you can find me. I'll just say all platforms, wherever you want to find me, just go to smoothie.com, SMOOTHD. Sorry, SMOOTHD.com. It'll have all my social media from Facebook, Twitter, which I very rarely use now, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch. So if you want to catch me spinning online, you can catch me Wednesdays and Fridays. I'm sorry, Wednesdays and Saturdays, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. My Wednesday, we call it S&M Vibes because it's smooth and mellow. Because
Mhm.
my full DJ name is Smoooth Mellow-Dee. But everybody just calls me Smoooth D, D, Smooth, whatever. But my Wednesday nights is more of the R&B from, the classic soul, but I also love a lot of the new R&B that's coming out nowadays. For a lot of the older folk who are kind of stuck of saying like, no, these new artists, they're just using auto tune. It's not real music. They're not using real instruments. Let me tell you, there is a lot of artists out there that capture that essence of the soul that we grew up with and even our parents grew up with. So I try to highlight both because I do feel, and it's just the DJ part of me, I want to give people music that they may have not heard of but can take a liking to. So that's the Wednesday night. Saturday, we call it the Get Down. And that's mainly hip hop, R&B as well, but it's kind of in the genre of hip hop. It's from playing rare grooves, break samples, and things like that. And that's the show that is also on um, litlive.com, Delicious Vinyl Radio. So we go
Nice.
live on Twitch at 8 p.m. and then 10 p.m. The show was live on Delicious Vinyl Radio.
Nice,
That's it.
nice. Cool. That's awesome. All right. Well, Smooth D, I want to thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for
Appreciate
having me,
this.
man. It's a
Oh
dope
yeah.
concept. I'm glad that somebody is doing something like this to highlight the vinyl because it is, a resurgence of the awareness and people getting into it. So for you to come and take it a step further and put it on us consumers and lovers of music that
Right.
spend our hard money back to crate digging, going to different record stores and things like that just to find these gems, whether it's, you know, finding music that you may have had as a child that you want to get now, or just looking for like those rare finds.
Mm.
So thanks for highlighting it. And, thanks for
Oh
asking me
yeah,
to be a
man.
part of it.
Thanks for
Appreciate it.
being part of this journey. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. We'll talk soon.
All right.
All right, man.
Peace.
Peace.